matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Honorable nominee, you're welcome. On behalf of the members of this committee, I'd like to congratulate you on your nomination by His Excellency the President to the Ministry of Trade and to wish you well. We will take you through some questioning, starting off with your CV and then Article 74 of the Constitution, although we know that you're a member of Parliament and would have fulfilled quite virtually everything. We will then take you through questions that will have to do with the new position you're going to occupy and other national issues. Honorable Samsnahi will set the ball rolling with regard to your CV.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, all CV starts from page 1, but the nominee's CV starts from page 5. I don't know whether we are using the same CV.
Mr. Chairman, I don't even have a copy of the CV. I don't have it in my file. I don't have a copy, please.
Please. All the pages are 5. Is that a new start, a way of writing CV?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. The original CV I submitted started from page 1, so I don't know why this one. The one you have has page 5. The original CV I submitted has page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So are we using different CV at the moment?
Well, I don't know. This is the copy of the one I submitted.
Mr. Chairman, page 5 of the CV. The nominee didn't tell us his hometown. Then, languages spoken, English, excellent. I want to know whether he did some proficiency work and he was graded to be excellent in English speaking. That is 2. And then 3, educational profile, JIMPA, MGL. What is the meaning? And then, given all the qualifications that you have, you only stated, I believe, the ending years. We want to know when you started the program and then when you completed them. And then we don't have your middle school, we don't have your primary education record on the CV. And then if you look at the interest, and this era of people indicating their interest, whether they are goalkeepers or trying to score goals, I want to find out whether the nominee has indicated that we all know that he's actually a sports journalist. I want to know his special interest, whether he actively participated in the sporting activities, apart from what we heard him doing on the radio. I will end for the time being.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First, I've stated date, place of birth. And I was born in Accra, so I come from Asene, Accra. With the issue of languages spoken, yes, by proficiency level, I could be termed to have an excellent appreciation of the English language, excellent appreciation of the Ghana language. At the educational profile, the issue of MGL is Masters in Governance and Leadership. That's the degree, MGL, Masters in Governance and Leadership. And That is 2012. It's a 2-year master's program from the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA. So from 2009 to 2012. And then
The diploma.
the diploma from the Ghana Institute of Journalism.
I prefer that you take your time subsequently, give us the duration,
Okay.
the date it commenced and the date of completion, and then submit it to
This one is the date of award of the.
I know, but we want, the duration.
Okay.
So do that later, just to save time, and then resubmit it.
And then the issue of interest. Mr. Chairman, I've stated clearly my interest is in community mobilization and social work, and also youth motivational activities. Those are my interests, and I have hobbies. You can see clearly soccer, boxing, weightlifting, tennis, and athletics. And Mr. Chairman, my honorable member will know that I played soccer to the first division level of then Ghana football. I played for House of Folk Under 20. I played for Busia Dwarfs in Cape Coast. I also played a little for soccer, Bentinsin United of Asimfusu.
Mr. Chairman, in what capacity? Were you a goalkeeper or what?
I am a very versatile player, and my friends will tell you I play both in the defense and attack. In fact, it must interest you to know that 2 years ago, I was the goal king of the Old Footballers League.
Mr. Chairman, I think the nominee is a member of parliament, just to find out whether you have paid fully all your taxes.
Mr. Chairman, it is so. I've complied with all the tax obligations.
Yes, any more on the CV? Yes, Honorable Kujetu, and then Honorable Babajama.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to my senior brother, Nii Lante Vanderpuye. Well, Mr. Chairman, just to observe that this vetting exercise really reveals a lot, and it lets us know our colleagues very well. I didn't know that Honorable Vanderpuye was Edwin. Now I know he has an English name hiding somewhere. I didn't also know that he's not only a goal king and a striker on the field, but he strikes at home. I noticed he has 6 children. He has always hidden that from us, and as his colleagues, we didn't know that he was prolific all round. But Mr. Chairman, I want to, for the records, just find out the proper spelling of Lante, because he has spelled it with a Y, but the communication from the presidency is without a Y. So just for our record, so that we know which one we should use. And if you want me to run through my concerns.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. First, let me say that my name, Lante, is spelled Lantey.
Okay, so we'll take note of that and amend accordingly. Page 2, there is 5 here. The courses, social or professional. You have act of refereeing. Act of refereeing. Just want to know whether you just wanted to acquire the knowledge, or you have acted as a referee before.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, when I was a sports commentator at the GBC, in order to appreciate the rules of the game very well, we had to go through coaching courses for footballers, and also go through coaching courses for referees, and also to be able to be, let me say, to be able to interpret the rules of the game very well. If, for example, a referee whistles for offside, as a commentator, if you know what the rule says, then you will be able to explain it well to the listener outside who has no benefit of television. So as a radio commentator, it was proper for me to appreciate the rules of the game very well. So I had to go through all these courses in order to be a good commentator.
Mr. Chairman, on I think the last but one page, where the nominee indicates Member of Parliament, Ododio, he just wrote current. Is the standard that you give us the specific date. So if the amended CV could take note of that. And then hobbies, weightlifting. Is it of interest or you are a participant? Because I've been looking at your triceps and biceps. It doesn't look like you have much to show.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I've acknowledged that the Member of Parliament, I will amend it to reflect the correct procedure. But yes, I have an interest in weightlifting. I do some liftings, but not to build my body into a macho man or something of the sort, but I do weightlifting. And I've also trained myself in the rules of engagement of weightlifting as a coach. I used to be the vice chairman of the Weightlifting Association and also currently the chairman of the association.
Mr. Chairman, finally, I take curious interest in his role models. One man, he has so many great role models. Late Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, late Professor J.E.A. Mills, Commander Fidel Castro, Comrade Fidel Castro, Julius Nyerere, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Yeah, he didn't spell the comrade. The abbreviation you use is the commandant one. But all these 5 people, what will you say they have in common, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman, all these 5 people have the social democratic philosophy as ideals, and either the extreme socialist or the social democratic ideals. And I am a strong believer in the social democratic principle.
Honorable Baba Jama and then Honorable Ilechi.
Mr. Jama, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alhaji Agida.
Alhamdulillah.
Ka ce muna kana jin Hausa don ya kamata mu duba Hausanka ko ba haka ba?
Kana so mu fede
Ya kamata mu yi Hausa kadan domin mu trace Hausanka.
To, Naji.
Okay, he has put on his CV as speaking Hausa. I'm testing his proficiency in Hausa. The fact that you don't understand does not mean we cannot speak it. I was just asking him how he is. Oh, I'm translating that. My good friend, how are you?
We understand, so you go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, mine is just to test his proficiency on Hausa, so it's okay.
Now go.
Okay, Honorable Ilechi.
Mr. Chairman,
Give him good.
incidentally, when we say that the nominees' CVs are not paged, this one has 1 page, and it's page 5. All the pages are page 5.
That is not my fault.
No, I'm not saying it's your fault. Oh, no. Why? Look, the computer. Now, if you look at on the second page of the nomination, he says act of refereeing, and then act of public speaking. Am I to take it that it's ACT or ART? Because we have art of something.
Mr. Chairman, it should be ART.
Okay, so it should be so corrected.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at, I was trying to ask particularly about his role models. This last one. But before I come there, the COMM before Fidel Castro is Commandante, not Comrade. Commandante. Those of you who are not communists, you don't know this. But I've never heard of this last person, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Is he a woman or a man?
Mr. Chairman, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu used to be the former executive governor of Lagos State, Nigeria. He's been an iconic figure as far as the social democratic movement in Nigeria is concerned. And he started the transformation of Lagos, Nigeria. And I've met him several times and he's inspired me a lot.
Are you okay? Any more on the CV?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Honorable Alfred Agbuchi.
The second page, courses, social to professional. You listed a lot of courses over there. Which ones are social, which ones are professional? Particularly the one you undertook at the Well Harvest Church, was it a social or professional?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The leadership and counseling was a social one, the sports management promotion, social, basic soccer coaching, social. From the act of public speaking, that was a course I undertook in order to make me more proficient in my commentary work. So it's professional. Broadcasting techniques and pronunciation is professional. Sports broadcasting and commentating is professional. Production level course 1, production level course 2 are professional courses that we undertake at the GBC training school.
And at the end of those courses, you were given certificates?
Yes, yes.
You have the certificates?
Long time ago, so I should have them. My certificates are not missing.
But why should you add that yours are not missing? It says, is anybody's certificate missing?
Mr. Chairman, I presume the...
No, please, we spare you the audio. Don't answer.
Again, positions held, the same page. If you go down, chairman of the Social Services Subcommittee and chairman of the Environment, so. You were the chairman of those?
Mr. Chairman, I think there are some issues that we have to deal with it critically. The nominee said that he was emphatic that he has all his certificates. Maybe he knows somebody who has misplaced his certificate. He can just let us know. So please, this is very important to me. Mr. Chairman, please, nominee, do you know anybody?
Honorable nominee, don't answer. We are vetting Honorable Edwin Nii Lante Vanderpuye. Whoever has lost his or her certificate has nothing to do with us here, as we sit here.
Yes, but chairman said don't answer the question. But have you heard some people have lost their certificates? Seriously?
He's coming through the back door. Don't mind him.
Yes, the one I've referred to, those two, being chairman of those two committees. But I know the AMA has a lot of assembly members, in fact, members, and you were sharing two committees at the same time, the same period. How come?
Mr. Chairman, originally I was the chairman of the Social Services Subcommittee, but just within 3 months, the then chairman of the Environment Management Subcommittee, Professor Hodasi, relinquished his position, and I was then his vice chairman, so I was asked to take over. Maybe it shows how effective I was in assembly.
Then I congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Any more on the CV? No? Okay.
Yeah, so Chairman, just one little observation. I noticed that on the third page, the nominee under significant achievement, he writes elected assembly member, 1994. I just wanted to commend him for showing such great respect for the local governance system of this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Now let's go to the main substance. Who is starting? Honorable Yelechi.
I have 10 questions. But because of the way Mr. Honorable Ahi is behaving, I will reduce it to 3. And the first one is that you are going to the Ministry of Trade and Industry. In that ministry, just like the sports, youth and sports, the trade aspect of the ministry, particularly internal trade, is completely lost to the industry. What will be your contribution towards the ministry realizing its objectives of promoting internal trade, particularly promoting inter-regional, when I say inter-regional, intra-Ghana, inter-regional trade. The other one has to do with this long talked about agreement that the European Union insists we should go through, the EPA. By the way, do you know what EPA means? If you know, in answering the question, you give the answer. If you don't know, then it means you can't even answer the question. And number 3, we have had, still in line with my earlier question, we have had a number of markets, getting bent and reducing market women and traders within these places, very jittery as to whether they should do any investments. Has the ministry any idea, from your contact with the ministry, has it got any plans for us to build markets that can be a little more safer for our market women? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First, trading by itself demands a lot. Demands capital and demands resources. Intra-trade is a problem in this country. I believe seriously, from the ministry's mandate, they are not supposed to only look at international trade. They are also looking at regional, sub-regional, and domestic trade. And when I get to the ministry with this, I will really rally behind my minister and look at the vision and the mission of the ministry and try as much as possible to help boost domestic trade or intra-trade. It's historically, if you look at our people, they've always been very, very active in trading activity. I know historically the people in the Greater Accra region used to walk all the way to a place like Asesewa for trading. People used to travel all the way from Nashanti, Brongafo regions to Mankesim for trading. People used to travel from the north down to Techiman for trading. So it tells you that the Ghanaian as a person has that likeness for trading, but it's become very difficult for intra-trading. One of the things I have seen have also led to this is because we are not helping. And that leads to the second question, the issue of our markets. If people produce and they have access to markets, it becomes easier for them to engage in trading. And it becomes easier for people to also go to those markets and buy. But our market situation right today is not the best. There has been persistent fire outbreaks in the markets. Almost every 6 months you hear fire outbreak, or every 3 months you hear fire outbreak in one market here or the other. I think the Ministry of Trade and Industry had already initiated a program as far back as the NDC-1 period in rehabilitating and building new markets. This program has continued. We've seen ASIP programs. We've also seen situations, but markets by nature fall under the purview of local governments. So I think there should be a linkage between the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Ministry of Local Government in order that we build markets. I, Mr. Chairman, in particular, in my special case, I carry the burden of making sure that there is security in 5 big markets in Accra: the Makola market, the Bugloshi market, the Katamanto market, the London market, and the Salaga market. These are all historically big markets. The situation of all these markets are not the best. And I think I will really impress upon my minister and the ministry, so that together with the AMA, we see immediately what we can do to rebuild those markets or improve upon them. Seriously, some of the markets need total rebuilding, because the electrical fittings in the markets and the population in the markets now have virtually outweighed the number for which it was built. And I think we have to look at it again, Mr. Chairman. The issue of EPA, yes, Economic Partnership Agreement. That is a partnership agreement that offers Africa and sub-African countries and those in the Pacific countries the opportunity to access free trade in the European markets. Mr. Chairman, my little analysis of the situation tells me that in the short run, it could be of benefit to African countries especially, but in the long run, could lead to job losses and collapse of medium and small scale industries. Because in the short term, they are going to give you facility that will help you give low capitals to startup capitals to your industries and your medium scale enterprises to start. But when you remove barriers, trading barriers, tariffs, and the rest, your countries will have to compete, your goods and services will have to compete favorably with goods and services from the European markets. And their cost of production always gives them an advantage over our industries here. So what will happen is that our people will have an unfair competition. There will be more import of goods and services from the European markets, and our countries will become a dumping ground, and it will collapse our industries and lead to job losses.
Yeah, but don't you think there's also the possibility of taking good advantage of the facilities provided in respect of building capacity, and therefore helping the local industries to build up so well that they'll be in a position to compete with products from the European Union?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with you, but if you still give them and they stand on their feet, if the cost of production is still higher, they will soon lose out in the international market with the goods and services coming from the European markets.
Honorable Dominic Azuma.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Nii. You are my vice chairman, you are runaway. Anyway, there is this school of thought that for balanced development, the southern zone should be industrialized. And that certainly has to do with the Ministry of Trade. Do you think this is feasible? And how do you think we can carry out this kind of program? Second point, we are going to the trade ministry. As a country, what do you think we should do to improve regional trade? It's very, very critical for us as a country. How do you think we can improve regional trade? And finally, if you had the chance, your constituency is located in the heart of Accra. There is interinstitutional task force committee. They are moving around, locking up shops in the center, the city center, involving some of your own people. Some of them are West African nationals. You are going to be the Deputy Minister of Trade. What advice will you give to your minister to see how we can handle this matter so that it should be a win-win situation? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I acknowledge the fact that I will be leaving Honorable Dominic Azuma very soon as the chairman of the Local Government Subcommittee. Mr. Chairman, if Ghana will really expand our economic base and add value to our raw materials in order to make our export trade more competitive, then I will agree with all those who are proposing that the SADA zone should aggressively be given an industrial outlook. Mr. Chairman, if you travel up to the northern part of the country, vast lands, I wonder what it will look like if we put ourselves into serious, aggressive agro industry. If we are going to do real agricultural mechanization, where we have large tracts of land, principally to grow to feed this country and also export, I think it will alleviate a lot of the economic problems we have. If you look, the best way for industries is being closer to the raw material source. If you go to areas of my honorable member, for example, you go to areas like Boku, Garo Timpani, and the rest, we grow a lot of watermelon, but we don't have market for it. We end up leaving them by the street for donkeys to feed on. If we could site an agro-processing industry in that area to feed on the raw materials of watermelon, for example, we should be able to produce raw material juice for this country and even export. So I sincerely believe that if we can build up the infrastructure up north in the southern zone, energy, water resources, and go into serious agriculture in that area, we would be producing enough and also export. Then we can have the raw materials to set up industries that will turn this. For example, I don't see why we could be importing tomato puree when we can have a good tomato industry up north, produce enough to feed that industry and export tomato puree. So I believe that the SADA idea and those who are advocating that we should give a lot attention to industrialization in the SADA zone, I agree totally with them. I think it will help. Is the way forward for this country. Improvement of regional trade, yes. Mr. Chairman, it is very important. Africa and even sub-regional ECOWAS offers us a very, very huge market. If we take the population of Nigeria alone, if we can have regional trading among ourselves, it could offer us a very good competitive ground in order to stand against European markets. I believe seriously, recently I've heard something like BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. I believe if South Africa, for example, with its huge market, could be looking more at regional, African regional trading, it will offer other African countries who will feed their market a much more opportunity than looking at the Europe and the Asia. Yes, interministerial, interinstitutional task force going around. Mr. Chairman, the laws of this country stipulates that retail trading is reserved for indigenous Ghanaians. That's our law. And our investment law also states that if you want to establish any industry or any business in Ghana, you must register. There's a capital outlay that you must prove. So I believe that if people have duly respected our laws have to work. If you have duly respected our laws, there won't be the need for them to have any problem with this interministerial committee going around locking up shops. I think when they go, they just don't lock up shops. They ask for your registration, and if you provide your registration, they would. But then there is another side to it. People talk about ECOWAS protocol, and I said there might be free movement of goods and services. But I know that within some of these ECOWAS countries, there are prohibitions. For example, in Nigeria, you can't just get up as, if you are not an indigenous of Nigeria, you can't just get up and engage in trading activity in certain goods and services in Nigeria. And as such, even though we have protocols, some countries have protected their markets a little, and I think it is only fair that our laws, which protects our indigenous markets, must also be made to work.
Yes, Honorable Kujetu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have 3 questions for my good friend. The first 2 are the personal level. The nominee's appointment was greeted in certain quarters as, if you like, a square peg in round hole. Some people were of the view that you have had an illustrious background in sports, and perhaps you should have been sent to the Youth and Sports Ministry. How do you respond to those who look at your appointment with some hesitation and some doubt as to whether you are really cut out for it and whether you can help move trade and industry forward in this country? How do you respond to that? The second personal question has to do with a certain perception which probably reached a crescendo in the last elections, that you have created at Odio a kingdom where it's a no-go area, nobody dare cross your path, and that you have some violent tendencies. And for a deputy minister for trade and industry who will be interacting with a lot of international diplomats, economists, and all of that, they are not too sure how safe the country is and all of that. Will you say that is a fair perception, those who have tried to tag you with violence? And what's your view about that tag? And how can you assure this committee and the nation that you are not what they want to portray you? My final question is on the textile industry, the ailing textile industry, with specific reference to Japan textiles for very selfish reasons. But you can use the Japan as a case study to let us know how you intend to assist your minister to transform the textile industry, which a decade or so ago was employing a lot of Ghanaians, more than 100,000 Ghanaians, but currently, less than 30,000. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and I would want to say I thank my colleague very much for this opportunity for me to clarify some of these issues. Mr. Chairman, yes, the president is the coach of the team. He knows which player to put at which position in order to secure victory. So, if he has decided that I should be at the trade and industry, he knows my qualities. He's worked with me for some time. He knows what I can do. So, taking me there to assist the substantive minister, the president may have thought through very well. If of all the background that people are touting, he still felt that I will serve better in this area, it's fine. If you have abilities in sports, it helps you function anywhere at all, because you have organizational skills, you have commitment, you have that die-hard spirit. So I'm very sure I'll be taking these qualities to the ministry to help my substantive minister to be able to achieve the results and the vision of the president as far as trade and industry is concerned. Odio is not a violent place. It's a wonderful place. The Ghana Police Service will tell you that Odio was the most peaceful constituency during the last general elections. Most peaceful. Those who have termed Odio as a no-go area, or those who have seen Nii Lante Vanderpuye as a violent person, are those who want them to be allowed to break the law with impunity. I'm not a lawless person. I try to be on the side of the law. And I'm one person who will not allow you to break the law with wanton disregard for the laws of this country. 2, I'm one person who do not allow people to cheat others with impunity. If the law says right, and we are all turning right, we should all turn right. I will not allow you to push me to right and turn left. And as such, those who I try as much as possible to let them understand that they're not being fair to the country Ghana, not being fair to the people of Ododo, are those who said to them, allege that I'm a violent person. I'm not violent at all. I've never had any record of violence. I've always been misconstrued, and I've always been misrepresented. People who have interacted with me, and some of the people who said it, Mr. Chairman, have met me in Parliament, and they ask, are you the Nii Lante that people were talking about? They could not believe. And Mr. Chairman, I want my colleague to know that my name, Edwin, has a meaning. The meaning is somebody who is friendly and lovely. So I'm not a violent person. Vanderpuye is Van from Poi. I think it's very unfair for me to be categorized that way. I believe this came about as a result during the voter registration exercise. Mr. Chairman, there was no way I would have allowed people to break the laws of the country. The Electoral Commission brought out the laws for the registration. You must be Ghanaian, you must be 18 years above, you must be of sound mind, and you must be resident in the electoral area where you are registering. So I could not stand by and look unconcerned when people are bussed from other constituencies, not even in Accra, outside Greater Accra, to my constituency to register. So we challenge these people, and when you challenge them, they send a wrong message that they say they won't allow us to register. Then people pick that up, they won't investigate, they go on air and say so many things. But I thank God that at the end of it all, I was vindicated. A lot of those people, over 2,000 of those people who were challenged, the registrations were cancelled at the courts. They went on appeal and lost. Those who registered legally went through and they were allowed to vote. So we used due process to prevent them. Those who were lawless were those who decided to leave their constituencies, mobilize forces, and attack the people of Odododio. And I must commend the police on that day that the police did very well by brokering peace and preventing the people of Odododio from defending themselves, because they were under attack by people who were coming from another constituency with tax. On the issue of the textile industry, Mr. Chairman, let me say that historically, Ghanaian textiles have been proven to be one of the best. I know those days when we have GTP, Dumas, and we have Akosombo, and we have Japan Textiles. We also have Tema, TTL. Let me say that I was very proud when I was going to secondary school Form 1. I had to go with a cloth, and my mother removed a very beautiful ABC. Those days, that's what they call one ABC, 1 yard cloth, because I was very small. So I had only 1 yard as my cloth, very brand new one. And then I also had another one which I would take to church. And that one was Dumas, Achichidechi. And then that's what I took to school. And these were all Ghanaian textile. Today, people will tell you that the quality of Ghanaian textile, like printers, is higher than the ones which are coming from China and those places. So if we could inject some capital into our textile industries and support them, they will favorably compete with all textiles coming from other parts of the world. So I think I will impress upon my minister to see what we can do to get Japan Textiles, Akosombo, TTL, and GTP and the rest back on their feet to produce, to feed the Ghanaian market, also export to other neighboring countries, the sub-regional countries.
Thank you. Honorable Benita Okitidua.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Honorable Deputy Minister Designate. Talking about importation of foreign textiles, foreigners in retail trade is still an issue. As a Deputy Minister, I want to know what suggestions you're going to offer your minister to curb this situation. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Honorable Member, yes, our laws have created opportunity for foreigners to invest in our country. And I think as a country, we benefit from foreign direct investment a lot, FDIs. But it's also true that we have laws. We have laws that pertain to setting up businesses, investing in the country, and also trading. So if you're a foreigner, like we've seen recently in our banking industry, we've had a lot of foreign banking institutions. They've set up, the Bank of Ghana has brought the issue of capital, the amount of money you must have as a capital base in order to operate as a bank. Some of them have respected and they have responded positively to that, and they are working. We've seen a lot of foreigners setting up industries in this country. We've so many. But the issue is that there are laws. And as such, I will definitely support my minister and the ministry to make sure that the laws of this country work. And if you're a foreigner, you want to set up industry, you want to set up business here, and you go by the procedure, you respect our laws, you won't have any problem. Ghana is very proactive to foreign investment. Ghana has a very wonderful market and wonderful economy that is opened up to foreigners wherever they're coming from in order to do business here.
Thank you. Honorable Queensta Sawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And then after that, Honorable Eric Opoku.
It is said that the private sector is the engine of growth. What is your ministry's policy on it, please? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the NDC government has said that the private sector will be given enough impetus in order to help this economy expand. That is why the Private Sector Advisory Council has been set up with His Excellency the President himself as a chairman. And that's why the President, in nominating ministers, has a minister at the presidency responsible for private sector development. That shows how important the private sector is to this government. The government has also set up the private sector development strategy 2, which will help private sector have the sort of resources and environment in order to improve upon their performance. The ministry's mandate is to formulate, develop, and also implement, monitor, evaluate policies, programs, and projects that will lead to an inclusive development of trade industry and the private sector. So the mandate of the ministry entails development of the private sector. And as a deputy minister, I will be of immense support. I will follow my minister in making sure that we support the private sector. Yes, like the late Professor Mills said, we need to crank the engine of the private sector in order for it to move. And I think the president has already started that by nominating a minister, appointing a minister to look at private sector development.
Thank you. Honorable Eric Opoku.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have 10 questions. And I thank you for...
And you know I won't permit you to ask 10 questions. You know it.
Then what I will do is that I'll ask 2 questions instead of the 10. Number 1, Honorable Nii, you are the MP for Odo, the center of a lot of trading activities in this country. What do you think should be done to make that place safer, environmentally friendly, and conducive for trading activities? That's number 1. Then number 2, as a country, majority of our people are in the rural areas, and we have the challenge of a lot of them migrating from the rural areas to the urban centers in search of jobs. The Ministry of Trade has instituted this program of rural enterprises, some technology. How do you intend to improve upon it so that we can reduce this rural urban migration that is posing some serious challenges on our social and economic infrastructure? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My honorable colleague is right. Odo is the hub of trading activity. Maybe that's the reason why the president appointed me. Trading activity in general demands a very conducive, environmentally friendly, very secured and safe area, so that the people who trade within the area will feel safer, and also those who patronize those markets and those shops will also feel safe in patronizing them. So security is important. If you look at our markets today, security is lacking. A lot of people go to Accra with a lot of shivers when they are entering our markets. The sheer number of people who enter the market, because the markets have not been expanded, they are still old markets, and more people are trading in them. So space in the markets have become a problem. They are choked areas, and those places favor pickpockets and thieves. And as such, a lot of people have second thoughts when they're going to places like Makola, like Katamanto, like Agbobloshi to trade. 2, when it rains, the traders in the markets are at the mercy of the weather. A lot of these markets do not have covering, and some of the markets are not properly tarred or let me say covered, and I said the place become muddy. You go to Abuburushi, for example, you see poor market women selling in the mud. All these, I think, are things that we have to do. You go to Kanshin, if you look at the drains in Okanshin, the stench that comes from the drains, restructure and rebuild the markets in Accra, in Odododio, in order to enhance trading activities in these areas. Rural-urban migration and what we will do in order to stem it by setting up rural enterprises. Mr. Chairman, the best way forward for us as a country is to encourage cottage industries. If we will encourage cottage industries in our small towns and villages, feed our markets. Mr. Chairman, I believe sincerely that if, for example, Bonyure Kente, if we can establish a good Kente market in Bonyure, for example, and people will not have to travel down to Accra to sell their Kente, tourists who come here and want Kente will be forced to travel to way to Bonyure in order to get Kente. Open up Bonyure, open up those areas. So one, the tourism potential of that area will be opened, the economic activities in that area will be opened, and it will create jobs for our people. So I believe seriously we need to give more attention to rural enterprises and set up a lot more of cottage industries in order to open up rural areas, and this will stem the rural-urban migration. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I think that all right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My colleagues were saying that don't give me the chance. Why? Honorable Eriko Puku. Why? Mr. Chairman, the nominee has answered questions, particularly on the textile industry. But you might have forgotten about the traditional and local manufacturers. For instance, you mentioned Kente at Bonyure. You have Kente weavers at Agbozome, Agotime, Ashaman. They are all there. Now, they need just few cities to be in business. Unfortunately, wherever they get these few cities from, the interest rate, the interest on this money at the banks is so high, so they cannot even approach the banks. Apart from that, you have mentioned the lack of market for their products. But the batik tie and dye is one of the products that is moving on the market. The foreigners like it. You like it on Fridays, and even you, above that, you can recommend that batik should be compulsorily worn, not on Friday, but on Wednesday, so that we popularize it. But the money and the interest rate on the loans they take, what advice will you give in that one? Number two, there is this issue of a sale of state assets. Our late president, Dr. Nkrumah, built assets for us. We have come, we sold most of them. Ghana Tolo government is gone. State fishing, Black Star Line, they are gone. There is even agitation to sell more of them. Mr. Minister to be, what is your take on that sale of state assets?
Mr. Chairman, on the issue of our local industry, local tradesmen, local entrepreneurs, accessing capital, yes, it's a very difficult thing. And that is why, in the wisdom of the government has re-strengthened the EDIF to make it Export Development Agriculture Investment Fund. So we are adding agriculture to it in order to create more access to a lot of our local industries. The difficulty a lot of our people have had is that this EDIF offers a lower interest rate facility for local industries. But then the procedure of accessing it is through the banks. So if the banks assist you to take those monies, you will not take money from them. So there has been a lot of frustrations to our businesses and our local enterprises in accessing this fund. And I think I will be impressing upon my minister for us as a government to look at the procedure of accessing these EDIF funds once again, so that you make more easy for our local industries to accept this fund in order to whip up their industry. There is also venture capital. Venture capital is there as a startup capital for small local industries, small entrepreneurs. But most of the time, our rural entrepreneurs have difficulty in accessing these facilities. I think when we establish our cottage industries very well, through the rural banks, we will be able to make available capital for these local entrepreneurs in order to start businesses. And I agree with you perfectly. If we could give resources to our poor weavers in Agotime, in Ashaman, and our bead makers in Adanfo, where my mother comes from, I think we will be helping them a lot, and it will create jobs in the local area. On the second issue of sale of assets, Mr. Chairman, I am going to the ministry as a deputy minister. I don't have a policy of my own. I will have to assist my minister to embark upon the policy direction of the government. And as such, if the policy direction of government is that we build our local industries to be able to stand international competition, so be it. We will support it. If the policy direction is that this particular industry, it will better serve for us to get a strategic investor into it, to expand it, to make it more viable, more competitive, and employ more people, I think I will go with it so that we can have it done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are through with the nominee, but before we discharge him, we'd like to recognize the presence of, acknowledge the presence of a few people here. Nii Dodu Nsaki is here with us. Nii Aikai III. Nii Amasa. Nii Bote Kokunu. Numu Akwa Mensa III. Numu Klang. Numu Kankam. Numu Ogbame. Numu Bodai III. Numu Busumpra. Galadima Alhaji Kabini English, the Hausa Chief of Greater Accra. Asafache Kabute Asem III. Nene Kole the Fourth. Asafache Kweku Duya the Third. Numu Dokuto. And then Okonfo Abeka Sikafo. Nana Dede Okoyo the First. And then Mama Dola Notifafa Womame. Reverend Dr. Nii Kwatelai Owu. And then Space Atukwe Clotte. We also have some regional women organizers here. Greater Accra Women Organizer, Western, Eastern, Central, Brongahafu, Ashanti, and two deputy regional women organizers also here with us. We have the former MP of Odododio here with us. And the better half of the nominee is here with us. And the children are also here with us. We thank you all for joining us Honorable nominee, thank you for attending upon this committee. You are discharged.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Shall we invite